Hi, guys. Thanks for tuning in on another episode of She Said What Podcast, where we're doing away with limiting beliefs, one podcast at a time. And listen, I'm giving you all the secrets of how to master your life. I'm going to be giving you different ways on how to increase your money, increase your time, and stretch yourself out more without breaking yourself, okay? So, I have a special guest today. All of my guests are special. I say this every episode, but she is so special to me because we connected without even knowing each other, okay? Mm-hmm. She is an interior designer here in Houston, taking over the game, and we're going to sit and talk to her to figure out, let's just figure out who she is on a personal level, but also get into that creative brain because, wow, her reveal day are so important to me. It's just like, it's reveal day. So please give a virtual hand clap and hug to my guest, Leah. Yes. Yeah, so Leah, she likes to say she heals homes. Mm-hmm. And that was so impactful to me because my home is my peace. Yeah. So the fact that you said you heal them really resonated with me because I'm all about alignment and making sure that it's intentional with everything you do. So when you said that, I knew you were an entrepreneur and a woman with purpose. Yes. And you're not just doing this because you have the talent. Mm-hmm. You're doing this because you're working out of the gift that God placed on you. Mm-hmm. So I'm so glad you came and sat with us today. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about your journey into this field that you're in.
So I got into interior design. Really funny story is I knew that I loved designing homes when I was only probably 5, 6 years old. I used to play with doll houses. And we didn't have a lot of money, so I grew up extremely poor, but I would play at my friend's house in their doll houses. But I was very particular on the way that I did every little piece in the doll house. And I, even at a young age, I my bedroom, like I would always like try to decorate it and put stuff. And it was always like a gift that I knew that I had, but I never thought it could be a career, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I always thought it could only be a hobby. And the way that I was raised is we have to work a 9 to 5 and go to school to have a good career and things like that. So I never really thought of entrepreneurship at a young age.
Yeah, that's so cool because it's crazy how full circle life, it's just like God put that in you. And as, children, we're just like, this is something we love, and we're not looking at it as this is how I'm going to live, So that's a beautiful story. And could you imagine playing dolls with her? Like, girl, can I move the chair, please? No, that doesn't go there. That is so cute. So my love for interior design happened like right after I had my son. Well, actually, while I was pregnant with my son, I was nesting and I didn't even know about that word. Yeah. I was like, I don't know what this is that I'm feeling, but it has to be perfect. Mm-hmm. I don't like my house. I'm looking at these old, I loved like more modern. Now I'm like Scandinavian type style. But when I first moved into my home, I was moving out of my mother's home. Mm-hmm. And she's very traditional and she has a very beautiful style. But I adapted to her. So I didn't really know what mine was, but I just knew like, I'm not really happy here. Yeah. And I don't want to be not happy with my baby. So something's got to change.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as my push gift, my husband got me a whole new like interior design and we did my bedroom. Mm-hmm. After that, I was hooked. Yeah. So I think one day I ran across your page and I was like, I really love the way you put an accent on everyone's home. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you even made this a career. Like, how did you know that you wanted to do this for a living?
I honestly, because when I think about it, it almost sounds a little crazy to me. So I know what it might sound to others, but I Really, it was God. And it was me seeking my purpose.
Yeah.
For a long time, I was like extremely lost, if that makes sense. And I was working corporate America. I was making well over 6 figures a year, had a nice house, had a dream car,
Yeah.
I had everything that you would think that you would want, but I still felt very empty because there was a part of me that wasn't fulfilling my purpose.
Yeah.
And for so long, I didn't even think that designing homes was a purpose because I was trying to figure out how does it go with helping others, because I knew that whatever my purpose was, it had to do with also helping others. So I was trying to figure out, okay, how can I help others but design homes? And that's where Healing Homes One House at a Time came from, because I realized that when I'm helping, design a home, I'm really helping a family to feel more happier in their space. I'm helping a family feel at peace. We spend at least, especially now since COVID, at least 60 to 75% at home. Most people work from home still.
Yeah.
So when you think about that, that should be your most safe place, your most peaceful place, the place that you love, that you just,
I can't wait to get home.
Yes. So now I realize that it's a part of my purpose, and there's no feeling in this world that I can even relate to when I see someone smile, when they see their home or they cry. It's such a beautiful feeling because I'm realizing that I'm giving something back to them that maybe they couldn't do, and that's how I know I'm living in my purpose.
For sure. And the reactions from your videos are like so authentic because it's like, if you work, and I know we're at home a lot, but a lot of us aren't, a lot of us are working, a lot of us are entrepreneurs like myself. And it's like, when I go home, I want to be happy. But when you come home and you're not, that energy and just the core, even color can like really change you. And the fact that you've mastered that is just like amazing. So kudos to you and like all the homes that you're helping and the families that you're help bringing together, so they even want to stay home.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people run from their house because they're not really happy in it. So that's beautiful. So tell me, like, okay, were you always here in Houston? And like, so tell me about that. Where are you from?
I'm originally from California and Arizona.
Okay.
And so I'm a West Coast girl.
Okay, West Coast in the building.
But I absolutely love Houston. I wish I was almost from Houston because I feel like I am Houston more than anything right now. But like I explained a little bit earlier, I was trying to find my purpose, that was important to me. And I got to a place where I just felt stuck. I was doing interior design back home, but I wasn't able to be as creative. The style out there is very Southwestern, very traditional.
Yeah.
And I knew that what I wanted to bring was like a little bit different. And so I prayed about it. I came to Houston one time for my brother's event, and then that was enough for me to say I liked Houston. So I had a house there. I sold my house. One of my best friends of 20 years, which is now my fiance, helped me actually drive down in the U-Haul, and I started brand new. Didn't know not one person in Houston.
Wow.
Didn't have no family here. I didn't even know where to go or where not to go or where to live or where not to live. Thank God. I feel like he was covering me the whole time. So I was able to, everything that happened aligned perfectly. Like looking back at it, it was like I had an angel just like on the top of me, just like being like, you got this. And it was scary. Entrepreneurship, taking a leap out on faith. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I cried for 2 weeks straight when I first came to Houston because I was scared. I was like, of the unknown. Oh my gosh, what if I moved out here and my business still doesn't take off? Or what if I don't know anyone? Or what if this happens? Or, whatever the case is, so many fears that go in all of our minds, you know? But I just knew in my heart that this is where I was supposed to be. It's like my heart was just calling Houston. And believe it or not, before I even came to visit here, I always knew I was going to come to Texas. I didn't know it was Houston. But I was like, I'm going to move to Texas one day. I used to always say that. And so, I mean, you manifest what comes out your mouth, for sure.
I'm like, was it Beyonce? No.
I love Beyonce.
I always say to be entrepreneur, you have to be a little delusional.
Yeah.
Because all the odds are against you. First of all, you had a stable job, like more than stable. Mm-hmm. Like you were able to have a very comfortable life. And a lot of people are good with that. But it's just something about when God places something on you, you have to be obedient. So, but it can be scary. It's like, well, God, why are you telling me to do something that I'm good over here? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's just like your happiness. I'm glad that you chose your happiness and your peace, because there's a lot of people that went to school to be doctors and lawyers, and they're doing very well in life, socially, how social norm, paints people pictures, but it's like they are dying inside. And it's so beautiful that you took that leap. Like, I don't know if I could have. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm like thinking about it, like you had everything, you wanted, and then to move out here. Yeah. Didn't know anyone. Yeah. And to start a new business at that, that is destined for you.
Door knocking.
Yeah. Oh, you did door knocking?
I door knocked.
No way.
I was in Home Goods handing out my business card. I passed out flyers. My first job that I ever ended up getting, I used to stay in a sky rise. When I first moved out here, I was still working at my job. Yeah. And I went downstairs to the leasing office and I was like, hey, do you guys have an interior designer? And they were like, no. And I was so scared. Like I was shaking. Yeah. I'll never forget this day. Like I was shaking and sweating so hard. And I went downstairs and the lady that actually ended up helping me get the apartment originally is the one I was talking to. And I was like, hey, do you think that I can give you guys my flyers and in every folder you can have, hand them out? She said, yeah, why not? And it just happened that easy though. Wow. But sometimes like the universe has a way of sending angels along your path, is what I call them. Angels. They're people, but angels that see you for who you are and will help you along the journey. And that was like one of my first angels that was just like, why not?
Yeah, I love that. With the courage, because I have a very big fear of rejection. And door knocking is like the ultimate, okay? That's the old school. You can't go wrong with that. It's just like, you have to like be vulnerable. Yeah. And that's scary. But it was like, I'm glad that you and your partner did that. It was like, well, why not? Right. I'm here paying rent. Yeah. Maybe they need something. Yeah. So I love that.
It was honestly, it was her more than me. She's the one that was like pushing me to do it.
It's good to have someone like
that. And honestly, like, she's my biggest angel. Let me be honest, because, we were friends for 20 years and we fell in love in Houston, believe it or not. And she ended up moving out here and relocating and is a part of the business as well. Everyone knows her just as much as me. So, but she believed in me even before even when I didn't believe in myself at times. And it's important to have friends and people in your circle, family, no matter who it is, that truly believe in you, and that's going to say, hey, we're not giving up today. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and work and get this done, because sometimes you need that.
You need it. Like, seriously. And I always say, like, you don't need validation. This episode right now we're talking about is the beauty of failure. And so I love that you showed your transition, but I always say you don't need validation, but it's so important to have because sometimes you don't see you and someone else can see something so much greater in you and really make it come to pass. And that's what she did. So I love that. And then y'all are working together. So let's talk about that, because me and my husband, we're both entrepreneurs too, but we have two separate businesses. We get to like separate. Yeah. Even though we help each other in our businesses, we still separate at the end of the day. Y'all are in it at home, then you go to work together. So how is that?
It has its pros and its cons. I'm going to be very honest. Yeah. Just because I'm like kind of a hard boss, like me. Like, I like things done, and I like things done a certain type of way. Yeah. And she's also a boss as well in her own way. But we work to good together. Because we know each other too. I think the friendship, that foundation of the 20 years really helped us today, because I know exactly who she is. She knows exactly who I am. I know what, might hurt her feelings, or what vice versa. So we know how to kind of move with each other. But we also, I love it, believe it or not, because we have a lot of fun together as well. And it's like, she has a passion for it as well. Hers is more like the painting and doing different parts of the home. But it's like, when we come together, it's like we're truly a power couple. Yeah. And we both just believe in each other, no matter what that looks like.
Y'all have a common goal. Yeah. So it's just like, and that's another hard thing with partnerships, even outside of relationships and business, is that if you don't have a common goal and someone is not as passionate about you, there's going to be a lag. I've had multiple partnerships, and it was always like, I'm more into it. But when you have someone that's just as into it, it's just like can flow easy. And even though like y'all might bump heads, because y'all are both probably like you said, very business minded, it's just like at the end of the day, you understand what's important. It's like, okay, let's separate and then come back together, because we still got to finish this.
And that's one thing about I appreciate so much about her, is that when you hear, like, what I listen to is my clients. My clients, our clients, they mean everything to us. Like, I'm big on just making sure that all of our clients have a good experience, when working with us. So one of the things I love, and that I know that is 100% true, is she gets bragged about more than me. Even though everyone loves me, but everyone really loves Mel. Like, they really like me. Like, she's so genuine and such a good person. And for me, I love that the people that are on our team, from even my junior designer, like, everyone truly believes in the bigger picture, which the bigger picture is we're healing homes, so it's not about me. It's not about her. It's not about no one else. It's really about, what do we need to do to make sure this home is perfect for this family?
Exactly. Oh, I love that. I love that. So what set you apart in the very saturated industry that you're in to make you different?
Well, I first want to just talk about, when I first started, I would reach out to a lot of designers that were, a lot more seasoned, should I say, in the industry. And I didn't receive any response back from nobody.
Cold shoulder.
I mean, when I say nobody, I mean, it was crickets. Like, but I didn't let that stop me. I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to keep going and see what happens. But I do believe that I'm different, because I don't look to be like anyone else. And even when I design homes, I can't say that there is a person that I'm looking up to like their style. Like, whenever I look at a home, I say, okay, I want this to be different. I don't want it to be where it looks like any other designer did it, or that you could just find some of the items in Home Goods. Yeah, I don't want it to look like that. Like, I want it to be unique, and I appreciate our clientele, because that's what they love about us, is they love that we're going to do something different, or we're not going to just do something that's traditional that everyone else is doing.
Yes, I love that. So let's jump back on the cold shoulder part, because in the world of business, there is competition. Don't get me wrong, but I believe, just my mindset is that what's for me is for me. It don't matter what you do. We can sell the same exact thing. I'm giving something that you're not gonna give, because it's my gift. So, but it takes the strong mindset to believe that. But I feel that it's a lot of women. 2020 birthed a lot of entrepreneurs, I feel like, because of COVID and what happened. And anyone that is new in this field may sometimes feel, or even old, even seasoned, may sometimes feel like someone can come and take something from you. So there isn't a lot of mentors, or like you said, you get ignored, because I have before and got rejected, and I'm trying to do it. And there is no one person, and it might even come from our culture.
Yes.
Being being a Black woman, both you and I, and just our history, way back from slavery. Do you agree? Like, can you elaborate?
100% agree.
Yeah.
I would love to change that narrative, just because it can be more than just one Black woman in one field that is doing great things.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when another person comes in and they're great at what they do, somebody else might feel threatened or feel like it has to be competition, when it doesn't have to be competition. You both can be great. You both can sit at the same table, and your clients are your clients. This person, just because they're doing great work, does not mean they're going to take anything from you. And I tell people this all the time, and it's one of my favorite sayings: there's enough room for us all to eat.
Yeah.
And I think once we realize that, it's better that we empower each other, support each other, love on each other more than anything, then we're able to continue to grow for our children, for their children, so that we can really change generational curses that we've been trying to change for years, decades now.
For sure. I think it's just a lack of knowledge, because our ancestors and our family member, we didn't have guidance on, especially as entrepreneurs. We've been in it for a long time, but as minorities, we didn't really have any guidance, and there were setbacks put on us. But now it's like, I always say, it's not when people ask, like, I get this question like, oh, as a Black woman, like, how does it feel to do? I'm not lacking anything. When you act out of a oppressed mindset, your reality is going to be just that.
Yeah.
You're going to have things that happen to you that will
I love that you said that.
Yeah.
Because that reminds me of manifestation to the highest
It is.
tier.
It's a form.
Yeah, because whatever we speak and whatever we think about truly does come true. And that's why it's so important that we're nice to ourselves. More than just being nice to each other. It's like, how do you talk to yourself in the mirror? How do you look at yourself in the mirror? Like, it's not... And we got to change that narrative too, where it's like, oh, she thinks she all that, or she's being too confident. Yes, you should be all of that. You should feel confident. You should wear whatever you want wear that's going to make you feel beautiful for the day. And that does not mean that's a bad or a negative thing, and I'm grateful that one of the things I do feel like I've changed a little bit in the interior design world is that I embrace who I am 100%. Yeah. And that's through fashion. That's through the way I do my hair. Down to every detail. And I have been criticized about this, but I do not care at all, because I'm now noticing that other people are doing the exact same thing. So sometimes, you know what I'm saying, the world is waiting for change. And it's like, I get it. The way we were raised was very traditional. And there's moments where we all can be traditional. Yeah. But it's okay to still be a beautiful woman and still be a business owner. Yeah. Like, you don't have to be like, all the way, like that to still be a businesswoman. What really defines you as a businesswoman is your mind, not necessarily what you're wearing.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And two, if you are acting out of maybe jealousy, and when you do get those comments like, who did she seek you, like, look at yourself. Like, why are you even asking that? There's a lack of value that you have within yourself to even question another woman. Really dig into that. Why do I feel like I'm not as great or even better than the next person, that I feel like I need to speak out and say, you're not better than me? Right. There's a part of you that feel like she is, and that has nothing to do with her. And people that are getting the hate online or anywhere, just know that whoever is saying those things about you and in a negative light, and you're being your authentic self, that's a hurt within them. So it's easy for me to look past that if someone is talking, and I want you to do the same.
I do.
Yeah, I'm so glad, because a lot of my this is a famous woman right now, but a lot of my famous friends, they do get a lot of slack online. And I just have to remind them, like, boo, they are miserable. They are going through something and they are projecting. And if you are the projector, just really figure out how can you love on yourself more. And if you're getting the projection, understand that that's not for you. That's mirroring, and that's put it back on them. Like, so yeah,
I think it's important too. I mean, one of the main reasons why that I do reveals, and it's not just because I like people just to see people doing houses. It's a lot bigger than that, believe it or not. It's really about the little Black girls that are watching. When I was young, I did not see anyone doing what I'm doing at all, unless they were on HGTV and they were all, not my color. Yeah. So I didn't know that it was even possible for us. Yeah. So when I'm, being my authentic self, it's because I know that there is little girls that are looking up to me right now that are saying, "Oh, I want to do that when I get older." And we need to think about it more from that aspect of knowing that there's always others that are watching, and there's more people that are rooting for you than that are rooting against you.
For sure, for sure. And it's so important that you are setting you're a trendsetter, you're a visionary, and you're doing. When I asked the question, what are you doing outside in a saturated market, because you are setting the tone for a new leaf, and setting up younger generations to understand that there is no glass ceiling, and there's going to be a time where our children don't even have to hear as a Black man or as a Black woman. You're just going to be a person and a badass at whatever you do. So that's beautiful that you are a pioneer and that people can look up to you. But understand that there is room for multiple people. Agreed. And there has been blocks in our history, but that's an even more beautiful story that if you make it, that means that you're doing the right thing. But there are no blockages now. We've knocked all of them. Our ancestors have knocked all of them down, and we're outside, and it's time for you to shine, honey, and get your money. Yeah. At the end of the day. But that's so powerful, and I'm so glad you said that. Just don't be don't act out of that oppressed mindset, and embrace every part of you, every part of you. Yeah. And I know that you came from Arizona, and like, what is the culture out there like?
When my kids went to school, they were probably like 5 Black people in their school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we are very specced out. There's no culture at all. There's no, I didn't even know about HBCUs until I moved to Texas.
Oh, wow.
I know that sounds so crazy to someone that's from here, but we don't talk about that at all out there. I didn't even know it existed. I felt like I was cheated on so many things in my lifetime, from the food. Just there's so much. I didn't even know about certain food until I moved here. I was eating nothing but Mexican food all my life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was definitely a culture shock, but in a good way. I'm so grateful and have so much appreciation for Houston, the city of Houston. I really do think that I might be from another city, but I feel like Houston made me.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Houston's home for sure.
Yeah.
I've been here all my life.
I love it.
Yeah. So I definitely agree. So being that it was a culture shock, and now most of your clientele are Black men and women, and that's amazing. So you are really able to be embraced just naturally, just by who you are. And I feel like too, a lot of people see you, they're proud of you, and they want to support you. So I love that as well. But yeah, you can be in any room that you want to. I have a very diverse clientele base as well, but I know there are so many Black men and women that may look to me as well. But like I said, there is no one way or anything. Even in love,
we're both almost we should even I feel like for me, I've stopped even saying like, oh, as a Black woman.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm just a boss woman, period, no matter what color.
I'm so glad you said that.
I just...
I've been scared to say it, but that's exactly how I mean,
I feel that way. You know, I come from a very mixed family. So like, you know, I have white grandmas. I mean, you know, my fiance is Caucasian. So, you know, I'm not like just like, oh,
she's so swaggy though.
Yeah, she is. But I don't believe in just putting ourselves in one box, because when we put ourselves in one box, it like closes us up for so many other things that are out there. And it's like, I don't want to just be the best Black interior designer. I want to be the best interior designer.
Period. Because why would you box yourself?
Right.
And then that makes you feel uncomfortable to be in different rooms that you're supposed to be in. Yeah. You know, that'll stop you from going. So I love that. But yeah, like I said, we're both in interracial relationships. Mm-hmm. I feel like both of our spouses are very swaggy though. It's just something about that. I don't know what to call it. But yeah, you know, just have an open mind. You can love what you love, like, but also just don't love it because you feel like that's all you have to offer. Right. You have, you know, unlimited things to offer in life. And, you know, Leah is just a walking example of what you can do. And don't be afraid to step out of what society even tells you to do. Mm-hmm. And Leah showed that as well. She was doing well in life and she just wasn't happy. So happiness triumphs everything. That's the most
money definitely thing. Doesn't buy happiness. I tell people this all the time and they probably don't believe me, but it's really the truth. I made more in corporate America than what I make today. Yeah. Being an interior designer, but I would not change anything in the world. I love what I do. And it's like, for me, it's not just about the money, you know, like, cause I had money and I was still unhappy, you know, like I had more than enough and I was still, you know, trying to figure out what am I know that this question, every single person has a time in their life where they say, what am I here for? What am I supposed to be doing? You know, so that's was my COVID. Like you said,
it was COVID.
Yeah, it was around 2020 where that's when I came out here, where I was just like, I have to do something. Yeah, something has to change. I was around 35, and I was like, okay, it's time. You know, because then we always feel. I'm talking about this too, because we always feel like we have to get it done by a certain time. So we're like,
that's me right now. I'm like, I have to do it. It's 2024. Jesus.
Yeah, but it's like the right timing is just the right timing. And you know, if anything, I want to encourage everyone, like, no matter your age, it's like, keep going. Like, I know people that became millionaires at the age of 50. You know what I'm saying? I know people that started their business at 55 and business is thriving, you know? So it's like, don't let the age of, oh gosh, I just turned 30. I got to hurry up. And then you're stressed out and you're like worried about what other people are doing because you're comparing yourself to their success instead of just only focusing on your own lane. I always say everybody has their own lane on the freeway. If you just drive in your own lane, then you ain't worried about what anybody else is doing.
Ooh, quote. Yes, it's so true though. We do put time limits on ourselves and deadlines are good, don't get me wrong, but don't look at it like, oh, I have to do it this day or I have to do it by my next birthday, because that ultimately will slow you up and
cause a lot of stress.
Cause so much stress, so many problems, and now you got to slow down now because you're in a hospital and you got diabetes and whatever else comes with stress. So I agree, you know, just do what you love, like do it with intention and give it your all. But also don't do it because you feel that you don't have time. You have time. Yeah.
And one of the things that I get constantly, you know, I have, and if you're one of these people, I'm sorry, but I have hundreds of people in my inbox on a daily that are reaching out, and I try to respond to everyone, but sometimes it's a lot. Yeah. But just like different people, like, oh, I want to be an interior designer. I want to do this. Because sometimes some people see the glamorous part of interior design.
Get into it.
and they're not seeing the sleepless nights, the working till 3 o'clock in the morning, the tears, of just being an entrepreneur. It's not always easy. You have a lot of things that you deal with, making less, you know what I'm saying? Because guess what? You have employees now, you know what I'm saying? You have overhead that you didn't have. When I worked in corporate America, I just got a check and I walked away. I didn't have to worry about, okay, I need to do this and I need to do this. And then you have to worry about certain things that you didn't have to worry about. Having a CPA, having attorneys, like just little things. It's just being a business owner that we are not really taught in our culture. There's so many little things that are taught along the way. But it's just to say that you don't just do something because you think it's going to be good money. I always tell people, when you're looking for your purpose, think about something that you would do every single day, even if you never got paid.
No, great.
Like, if I did not get paid to do interior design, I would still do interior design. Granted, I still got to survive, so I would have been having to do something else. But, when I first started doing interior design, I wasn't getting paid, but I just love doing it so much. So that's what I would suggest to any entrepreneur or anybody that is looking to start their own business or, start a passion that they want to do. Just have fun. Because when you have fun, the abundance comes. Like, when you're stressing about finances and when you're stressing about making a lot of money, then money doesn't come. It's a frequency. So it's like, if you have good energy with it and just have fun with life and have gratitude about life, then things will just come and fall into place.
Oh, she gave you the formula. She gave you the golden formula, because it's so true. We glamorize bosses a lot because it's cool to say, like, I'm a boss, I'm my own owner, don't nobody. Until you're up and you understand that there is no work hours. Like, you're just like, I'm up. My manufacturer is overseas, so I'm up at 3 a.m. while my family sleep, but I still got to get up, take care of them. Like, you have to figure out if this is what you want, because you can have a passion and do something that you love outside of having a job. So I don't want to. This is not for everybody. Entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and that's okay. But you really need to figure out, is this something, like Leah said, that I would do unhinged without any money, and would I still be happy? Because if money is your goal, stick where you're at. Corporate is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with working for someone. We all have a boss, even as entrepreneurs. Our bosses are our clients, you know? So at the end of the day, we all work for someone, but really figure that out, because it's cute, but it's very much glamorized.
It's so glamorized.
It's so glamorized. We are tired. We tired.
And social media, it plays. I love social media. Let me just say that. But I'm not like one of those people who are like, social media, like, oh gosh, so annoying. I'm definitely not her. I love social media. As you can see on my platform, I have fun with it. It's something that I love to create, and I love to make things beautiful. So I kind of take my social media as a very similar way that I do interior design, just because I do enjoy it. But you do have to be on social media if you're a business owner. And if you like, it's one of those things, because I hear people all the time, I don't like social media, but I have a whole business. How do you have a business without social media? We have to be okay with moving forward. Unfortunately, the world has not unfortunately, fortunately, the world has progressed quite a lot in the last 10 to 12, 15 years, where before, it wasn't so important to have that social media platform, but now it is. And that's how everyone researches. And that's, no one's really on LinkedIn and Google as much no more, unless you're going to a corporate job. So if you're in more of the entrepreneur world, be okay with making a reel. Be okay with showing your face. People want to know who you are.
What's your journey with social media? Also,
I started out in Houston when I came from the West Coast. I had a total of 5,000 followers.
Okay. That's a good total still.
It was my first year here. I ended up getting 30,000. And I was so happy. I had the balloons up and everything. And I was like, oh, I made it, So, and what I learned with social media is that you just have to stay consistent. There's days where I might not get a lot of likes or a lot of follows, but I don't care. I don't do it for the likes. I think that's one of the things that kind of catches people up a little bit, is that they'll start like wanting to post or do different things, and then they'll be like, oh, it only had 2 likes, so I'm not going to do it no more. No, you got to keep staying consistent, keep posting. I don't care if you only get 1 view, keep doing it. People will eventually watch, and your right people will come to your page, but you have to stay consistent. A lot of times people are so close to the finish line and they give up. Yeah. So they're so close to a viral video, and then they just be like, yeah, I'm not going to post no more because it's not really going nowhere. You can't give up. Remember, number one thing, don't quit. Yeah. That's with nothing.
Yeah. So would you say social media is fun for you, like creative?
Love it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You love it. That's good. So where do you find that balance in being a creative, but also being an entrepreneur? Because that's 2 separate hats.
It is, but it's not to me.
Okay, all in the same.
It's 2 different parts of the business.
Got it.
But it's still business to me.
Okay.
So, like I said, I run my social media very similar to the way that I run almost my business.
Do you personally run it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I ran social media and doing that.
Yeah, so I grew both and crazy TikTok. I thought TikTok was so hilarious. My kids are on TikTok. Yeah. And so
is it roof for 30 and up?
Right. That's exactly what I felt. I was like, I started posting on TikTok just for fun, not really thinking it's going to do anything. And, TikTok, I think I'm at like 280,000 right now on TikTok.
And still.
Instagram, I think I'm at 212,000 right now.
Yes.
But I just do what works. And once I found the video or whatever that was viral for me and what my audience like, I just continually give them more and more.
I love
what they like. But I run all my social platforms. I'm a little bit controlling, so I haven't gave it away yet.
I love that. It's crazy. All parts of your life kind of meshed into this beautiful masterpiece of a world that you're in. Your love for social media also turned into your job.
Yeah.
Now. So that's pretty cool. But what advice can you give someone? Because I know that you work with a lot of contractors and stuff like that. Is their following big? Like, how do you find them? Because
contractors sometimes don't always have the best following. I feel like they're gonna be more of a good word of mouth. It's hard to find good contractors, though. Yeah. I will be very honest in this industry. When you find someone that is a hard worker, that's going to do the job correctly, that's going to be professional, all these things, keep them. Yeah. I'm so grateful that I have an amazing team now. It took me a while to really complete my team, if that makes sense. Yeah. But I feel confident now that the team that I have is amazing, you know. But I definitely went through a couple of ugly contractors to get to the good ones.
That's good. But to say that, it's just that you don't have to have this large following in order to be an entrepreneur.
No.
Because the people that have maybe 10 likes, their inbox or their phone is actually blowing up. They're partnering with people like Leah to work with their business. And so don't think that, of course, if you love it, strive for more following, but following.
Just let somebody else run it.
Yeah. There's options.
There's options. You could definitely let someone else run your social platform. Yeah. If it's too overwhelming, because social media is a lot of work. It's a full-time job. I tell people that all the time. I have to, I literally have a calendar of the way that I want things to go on my social media. So, I feel like if I ever stop doing interior design, I could be a marketer.
Oh, for sure.
Because of everything that I've learned along the way.
Yeah.
But I still think that you should at least try with social media. Because I know for me, if I have any correspondence, the first thing I'm gonna ask you for is your Instagram.
Yeah, but the numbers don't necessarily matter.
It doesn't matter to me. There. I just want to know that you are who you say you are and that you're doing whatever work you say you're doing. I don't care if you have even 10 people that are following. That doesn't matter to me because I'm not looking for that. Because a lot of times the people that have large following, they're a lot harder to communicate with anyway. So I'm not looking for those people anyway.
That's so true. Yeah, that's so true. It's like a modern day resume.
It is.
Yeah. 100%. It's like, what is your Instagram? I need to see what you're doing. So post, even if you're not getting a lot of likes. Yeah. Somebody is watching you. Somebody will find you and book you. Honestly, like this studio that we're in today is one of my studios I own. I have 300 followers, but I'm booked. Yeah. All the time. So it of course, go for the goal of getting followers. And, Leah is a prime example of, as your work will show, and you can grow your page, but also don't be discouraged. Not at all. If you don't, for sure.
It takes time. And, and that's one of the things I would suggest to anyone is that just be patient on your journey. I know no one wants to hear that because we all are like, we want it now. Okay.
That's this day and age.
Yeah. We want it now, but it's like you got to kind of, be patient and figure out your own style and what works for you. And then it's like I talked to my friend about this recently. She had one video that ended up going to 2,000. She has a smaller following, but it went to 2,000. Wow. I said, okay, so that video went to 2,000. What do you think that was different on that?
Yeah.
Video? I was like, so that's what you need to start doing because that's what your audience likes.
Wants to see. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I love that. So tell me a little bit. I know we talked about the up part of business and how you've elevated, and it's a beautiful story, but what can you tell us about the beauty of failure? What did you, can you tell us a time that you may have failed at something, and then what did you get from that?
I mean, I had the door slam for interior design.
Oh, wow.
I felt like giving up a few times because I didn't feel like I was able to be creative the way that I wanted to be. And I didn't feel like I had the audience that I needed, you know what I'm saying, to do. I mean, imagine how good I am, and about 99% of my clientele is Black. So imagine if my own people didn't hire me, how much all this talent would just be sitting down, you know what I'm saying? So that was something that I had to accept. But I feel like I started my first online store that didn't go nowhere the first time. I now have an online store that's doing good. Yeah. The interior design as well. I had a lot of doors slammed in my face. My first few consultations, I did not book them. I went home crying. Okay, is this for me, God? I had to, pray. Am I supposed to be doing this? But I did not. I just didn't give up, So I feel like there has been a lot of setbacks, but a lot of times when it was a setback, I personally feel like in my own situation, it was either because something was greater to come, or I needed to learn something first before moving to the next level. So, a lot of times when things don't work out, even till this day, if there's an opportunity that comes and it doesn't work out, I just take it as either it's something I need to learn from it or it's something I need to grow still. Yeah. And that's okay because, you don't want the universe to give you something and you're not prepared for it.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that. So, Leah, can you tell us anything that you may have had to overcome in your life because I believe every part of our story, the shameful parts, the scary part, every part of it shapes us. And a lot of times we allow that very hurt part of our life to really stop our future. Yeah. Is there anything that could have held you back that you've been through in life?
I definitely think that from the time that I was a child, I went through a lot of abuse. Like I told you, we grew up, extremely poor. So I did not have no type of like regular life as a kid, would I say, like with a normal mom and dad, and like just it was a very trauma childhood.
Wow. Yeah.
And I went through group homes. I went through a lot of physical or emotional physical abuse from different relationships that I was in. I went through a lot of trauma. And I feel like with being in those situations and being in those different relationships, even from the time that I was a kid, when things happened to me, one thing that it did teach me is resilience. And I think I learned that from everything that I did go through at such a young age, of just like, no matter what the world throws at me, I just am not giving up. And I mean, as long as I have air in my body, I'm always gonna live that, just because I feel like everyone has a story.
Yeah.
Everyone's been through something. And granted, what I went through, like as a young adult and even as a child, I should not have went through, but I'm not letting that define me. I'm not gonna let my past and everything that happened, I'm not gonna give them the power of who I am today. Because even though that little girl and that young woman went through all of that, she's still sitting here right now and is smiling, and no one's gonna take away that joy.
That's amazing. At what point did you say my life is more valuable than, my circumstance? Because it's a lot of
therapy. I will be honest with you.
Therapy.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
I went through therapy. I hit rock bottom. I was living in a shelter. I didn't have anything. I mean, nothing. And it took for me to do the work to really just be like, I'm going to commit to love Leah. And that, believe it or not, after being in an abusive relationship for so long, I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. I didn't think I was pretty. I didn't think I was smart. I thought I mean, when I say that this person tried to tear me down in every way possible, that's what he did, And I'll never forget this, but it's one of the most joyful moments I had. Is I started to build myself back up. And how I did that is I would write 3 things that I loved about myself every single day on a poster note, and then I would put it on the mirror. So I would have to force myself to see it. And then eventually, after months and after a lot of therapy, I started to believe what I started to say about myself. I love your smile. I love the way that you talk. I love the way that you do your hair. Just the most smallest, littlest things, but maybe to other people. But for me, it was so hard to look at myself and to be proud of myself and to be happy that I look the way that I look and the way that I am. And I came, like you said, a little bit earlier, it wasn't a lot of Black people where I was from. So I think growing up and not seeing others like yourself was already made me feel like I wasn't enough, you know what I'm saying? And then to go through all of just from abuse to abuse to abuse since I was a child, it didn't help either. So
it was almost like it solidified that truth that I'm not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it took time. And I think in our community we don't talk about therapy enough. I know my mom and like my grandmother and them, they really didn't believe in it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm grateful that our generation and even the generations under us are now starting to accept it a little bit more, because it really did help me so much. And just really just doing the work of just loving on myself, doing the healing work. I ended up going to getting involved back with church because I was in church when I was a kid, and I started to praise dance. That's something a lot of people don't.
Praise dance? I
did praise dance. Oh my gosh, love it. Yes. So yeah, I praise dance. I was actually the leader of that. And yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yeah. So I yeah, I absolutely love doing that as well. But it really did help me with a lot of healing. And it got me really close to God. So now I feel like I'm a lot more spiritual. Not so much on the religious side, but I definitely know that I have my connection with Him.
For sure. we have so much in common. Like,
Yes.
sitting here like, shut up. Shut up. But yeah, that's so true. And what you mentioned earlier about the Post-it notes and doing, that's called mirror work. I wrote about that in my book because our journey is very similar, even though we have different background stories. But at one point I didn't love myself either. I didn't not think I was pretty, but I did think, I felt like I wasn't smart. I didn't have it, you know, and I was fighting so hard to get myself to believe it as well as other people because I didn't feel worthy of life. I'm like, what am I doing here? Wasted air. And it wasn't until I was pregnant, I said, I don't want that to transfer to my son. There's a life in me that deserves. So I need to somehow feel better about myself. So then I start doing the work. And it's crazy how the saying is, you know, ask and you shall receive. I literally just start asking out loud, like, serious questions like, why don't I like myself? And that's so hard to be vulnerable in that moment and to really, because when you say it out loud, it becomes true. You know, we can mask it, like, you know, we can think it in our heads, I don't really like myself, but to say it out loud, it becomes true. So what made you, in what moment was pivotal to say, I need therapy? Because that's not common.
I knew. I was just, you know what it was, is I was wanting to try anything to save myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think I didn't believe in therapy in the beginning, but after doing the work from just therapy, journaling, I mean, I had a whole year of just me, myself. You know, I even like had to take time for my kids just to get me together so I could be healthy for them.
Exactly.
And that wasn't easy, but I'm so grateful that I went through all that I went through because now looking at myself, I'm just, you know, there's not, and I tell people, that's why I was telling you even about the comments, it's not a lot that could be said to me to hurt me.
Because you've been through,
I've been through so much. Yeah. And, you know, like when you learn to love yourself, that no one can take that from you no more, you know? And before, the way that I felt about myself was a validation from others. So it was from others telling me, oh, you're a pretty little girl, or oh, you're this. So when someone took that from me and when they said, you're not beautiful, you're ugly, you're not smart, you're this, you're that, I started listening to those. But now it's like, I don't need no outside sources. I wake up every morning and I look in the mirror and say, girl, you're doing good today. Your skin looking good. Right. You know, what you got planned. Like, these are self-talks that I do to myself without anyone around.
Yes, that is like a perfect, the cream of the crop right there. But it just took some self-awareness for you to say something is not right.
Oh, yeah.
And we have to figure it out because I'm worth it. So whatever that inkling is, it could be even your angel to say, hey, we have to do something. Yeah. So I'm just so proud of you. I'm huge on mental health. Yeah. And huge on beauty. And they both form so well together. And I love the way that you brand yourself. I'm huge on branding too. And that's one of the reasons why I feel like I gravitated to you as well, because you don't play around when it's time to drop that video. You make sure that hair, makeup, and your presence is just as important as your work. Exactly. Because everything is a part of you. Yeah. And so I love that you do that. What made you get into fashion? And
crazy thing is, I have always been into fashion. Back way when, I was into modeling. Like at least I thought I wanted to be. Yeah. So I used to. I've always loved fashion. I love beauty as a whole. Like I appreciate anything that is where you put into time into something. I don't know. So when I used to work with my life coach, I also did that. So I worked with a life coach for about a year. It's really important.
Yeah.
And we were finding out what my purpose was.
Yeah.
And I remember when we found out it was beauty. And I was like, well, why would it be beauty? Like, that's when I was still going through my life. And I was trying to figure it out. Like, okay, what does that mean? And I finally realized after, some sessions that it really just means that I just love making things beautiful, like come together, if that makes sense. And I appreciate beauty in the world. And there's certain people in this world that's their like 100% goal. And without those people, the world wouldn't be as pretty as it is.
It's so important.
Yeah.
Beauty is so important.
I love fashion though. Like I think that if I never did interior design, I would have did something in the beauty or fashion world because I have so much appreciation for it.
I absolutely agree. I think it's just so important, and it's important to your mental health too, to see yourself as this enhanced version, and it's beautiful. So I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy.
Likewise.
Yes, and I appreciate that you came on this show today because this show I wanted to do because it represents She, the brand, and it's really to show the beauty in people and entrepreneurship and in the world. So I agree. Beauty is my purpose, and I find beauty in everything. And I think it's important because I don't know, beauty to me is love. Love is God. So I'm connected beauty in God, and He gave me this gift, and and so I saw it in you. So I appreciate you taking your time to be here with us.
No,
today.
Thank you for having me. It's been a joy. It's like just talking, know. And I'm very grateful, and I love what you're doing in the community. I love what your heart, and I love your makeup line. I love her book. Like she is just entrepreneur at its finest, and I just love how much you embraced me. This woman right here, I'm a very transparent person, and from the time that she met me, she just embraced me with genuine love, and that's how we need to treat each other. So you're walking in your purpose and your true example of what a woman should be. Yes.
So much. Well, Leah's going to leave us. I wish I could keep her longer. But to close out this session, I want to ask you if you could leave anything with someone who may be looking to you, inspired by you, or someone that just may need to hear you in order to keep moving on with their life. What can you leave with them?
I would leave with you to just keep going. Not all of us have the same path. Some of us have to go through more than others, or at least it feels that way. And to just keep your head up. If you don't already have a mentor or a therapist or someone that you can talk to, I would definitely encourage you to talk to, someone that is going to help you along your journey, because honestly, we all need somebody. No one is just doing it on their own. And you are important. You are valuable. You are loved. You have a purpose on this earth, and don't let no one ever take that from you.
Period. Love it. Well, until next time on She Said What, I'll catch you next week, y'all.